The URXR One may have one of the most ambitious spec sheets I've ever seen on a pair of spatial display glasses. Unseen Reality claims a 90-degree field of view, more than 2K resolution per eye, 6 DoF and hand tracking, all at about 93 grams. I tried these briefly at AWE and they certainly were one of the most interesting products I saw there. But they're not cheap. You can back them right now for over $800 with all the inherent uncertainty and risk of ordering through Kickstarter. And while I know a little bit about what to expect, I still have some fundamental questions about the product. So today I want to share what I actually saw, what Unseen Reality has said, and the main questions I think you should consider before deciding to spend over $800, especially with XREAL Aura and Snap specs also competing for my attention and my money. Let's dive in. First, let's quickly ground this discussion in what URXR One actually is. Put simply, think of it as using the same core visual principle as something like the Apple Vision Pro, but compressed into a much smaller device. With conventional XR glasses such as XREAL and VITURE, you look directly through transparent lenses. With URXR, cameras capture the room and display it on the screens in front of your eyes. That is video see-through, and that enables a much more headset-like viewing experience. URXR is not a standalone spatial computer like the Vision Pro though. It needs a connected device to supply content, app computing, and power, much like traditional XR glasses. My demo was short and took place in a controlled environment where I couldn't really test different types of video or text. But in the limited time I had, the viewing area did indeed feel genuinely wide and very different from the display glasses I'm used to. The image looked clear and sharp, although there was no small text on it. The screen seemed stable in 3 DoF mode and the glasses felt pretty comfortable. I was quite impressed with the 6 DoF demo. In hindsight though, I now understand why I couldn't get that demo on day 1, but did get it on day 2. The company says 3 DoF works in direct mode with no software, while 6 DoF has to be activated through URXR Connect, and as of this week, the company says Windows is still under testing and Mac is still under development. On day 1 at AWE, the glasses I tested were connected to a phone. On day 2, I was at their computer setup where they could show me 6 DoF and the fuller spatial experience. Keep this in mind depending on your immediate use case. There also wasn't enough time to assess heat, fan noise, long-term comfort, or text clarity. And by the way, if 0 DoF matters to you, know that these glasses do not support that. So what does Unseen Reality say that is so amazing? They say the glasses use two 1.03-inch micro OLED displays at 2448 by 2064 per eye and 90 Hz. The coded field of view is 90 degrees diagonally with 36 pixels per degree. All of this while weighing only 93 grams. And the spatial tracking itself is computed on the glasses, although 6 DoF has to be activated through the Connect app. For context, XREAL One Pro stands at 57 degrees and the VITURE Beast at 58. These are different optical technologies, so the numbers are not perfectly comparable. But in layman's terms, URXR is claiming a bigger and better viewing experience without giving up much on weight or spatial features. All of that sounds great. So what's the problem? Well, not so much a problem as a set of big open questions, and I'll frame them in 4 buckets. First, productivity and software. I thought the image looked sharp, but I have real questions about whether it can act as a second monitor or ideally even replace multiple monitors. I did not test code, spreadsheets, or small text for several hours. Unseen Reality has told backers to target Radeon 780M class graphics and 32 GB of RAM for the full Windows Connect experience. However, many otherwise good laptops have 16, so what happens in those cases? And finally, I've done the demo myself, but given how dependent some of the unique features are on the software, I do question whether that software will work reliably for an average consumer using an average device. Next, What is the visual experience like under different conditions? How will camera pass-through handle bright windows, sunlight, and fast head movement? Will hand tracking work outdoors? Will I be able to see my keyboard or phone clearly? Will it feel closer to Vision Pro or Meta Quest 3 in terms of pass-through clarity? And what about screen drift over several hours? URXR claims under 10 milliseconds of pass-through latency. That is a strong claim, and if true, it would be impressive. They also say there are no infrared sensors, so in low light, the glasses fall back to 3DoF and hand tracking stops. In direct bright sunlight, hand tracking can also degrade, so again, not a deal breaker, but something to bear in mind. Next, everyday use. 93 grams for this type of glasses is light, but comfort is not just weight. There is an active cooling fan. The company says its fan algorithm is designed to keep the touchable surfaces below 42 degrees Celsius during normal use. But it's unclear how that plays out in the real world in terms of heat, noise, pressure, and eye fatigue over long use. These glasses also don't have speakers, and I initially thought I didn't mind that, but when I think about my past day and week, I actually use the speakers on my XR glasses pretty regularly. Some setups also require a separate power hub, which can be pretty bulky. The company says that at 7.5 watts, the glasses are limited to 1080p and 3DoF. To get up to 1440p and enable the full 6DoF Connect experience, the source device needs to provide 15 watts. So two devices could both support USB-C video and still deliver materially different experiences. Finally, there is the Kickstarter risk. This is fundamentally a riskier path with built-in uncertainty. There are a lot of promises around when the glasses, software, and accessories are expected. To be fair, the company says the hardware design is locked and that they are set up to produce more than 500 units per week. That is reassuring, although more tooling and production validation still remain. So I would still be cautious because going from pre-production validation to fulfilling hundreds or thousands of finished products within a few months while maintaining quality can be a tall order. That does not mean they cannot do it. It just means the slightly lower Kickstarter price comes with uncertainty you would not normally accept when buying a finished product from a company's website. So, where does that leave me and you? Back it now if the excitement of this wide spatial monitor concept outweighs the risks of a Kickstarter order, including potential software, timeline, and fulfillment risk. If, however, you need more meaningful evidence around text clarity, software stability, comfort, and everyday practicality, the prudent choice might be to wait until there is more verified information. I am personally also keeping track of XREAL Aura, which is right around the corner but priced higher. It's a different tech using optical see-through, but is competing for the same space on my face and in my wallet, so I have to consider trade-offs. As a regular user of this type of technology and as a regular consumer, I truly hope Unseen Reality delivers on everything they are promising. But my philosophy for now would be trust but verify. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.